Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica, and in today's video I have an announcement, but I also am going to go over my July wrap-up. So before I go into my July wrap-up, I want to make a quick announcement specifically about my channel. How am I going to put this? Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, and my mental health is starting to take a bit of a toll. So I feel tired, and I feel kind of worn out, creatively and mentally and everything. And so, and with my job starting back up and other things going on, I have stuff going on with my family that I cannot talk about, but I just can't see myself continuing to make 2 videos a week. So I'm gonna go down to 1 video a week, so you'll get videos from me. Wow, I told you I'm not doing great. I just been editing out a lot of the fumbling I've been doing. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so told you. Until my life calms down a little bit, I'm only going to be making videos for you on Saturdays, and I will do, in addition to that, I'm going to do reading sprints either on the first or second Sunday of every month. Tori from Novel Life and Tiff from Tiff Talks Pages, they both agreed to co-host these sprints with me. It's either going to be on the first or second Sunday of every month. Again, I will actually announce when they start very soon. I'm still working out with them. If you want to join us on the live, more the merrier. Please let me know. You can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram is linked down below, so just let me know. But also, you're also going to get 1 extra video, and it's going to be a vlog. So you'll have, each Saturday will be a regular video, and then plus a vlog, and then the reading sprints, and that's what I can manage right now. So when my life calms down a little bit, I will probably go up to my normal routine, but right now this is what I can do right now. So please, I hope you understand that, and give me some grace, because I'm kind of it's been a struggle. So, but we're just gonna go on to my July wrap up. So I read 30 books in July. I had 9 5 stars, 7 4.5 stars, 8 4 stars, 1 3.5 stars, and 2 3 stars. For my audiobook versus ebook versus paperback, I had 0 paperback, but I had 3 ebooks and 27 audiobooks. I'm always going to favor audiobooks, obviously. But for a genre breakdown, I had 5 historical romances, 2 paranormal romances, 13 contemporaries, 6 romantic suspense, and 4 cozy mysteries. So I thought that was pretty good. Before I get into all my 5 stars, I want to quickly talk about 2 books. They weren't 5 stars, they were 4.5 stars. So the difference for me with a 4.5 star versus a 5 star is I loved it. Like, it would have gotten that 5-star rating if it was going to be an absolute favorite. It's not. They're not absolutely favorites, but I loved them so much that I'm just like, you know what? I want to talk about them. And the first one is Graves by Caitlin Taylor. I did tell Jess from Honest Fiction that she needs to read this. Jess needs to read this book. I think she would absolutely love it. It's a dark romance, so check trigger warnings. This one is a check trigger warnings before you go into this. This one is, the tropes are honestly the trigger warnings. There's stalking, primal play, blood, knife play, breeding kink, somophilia, which I honestly, okay, overly protective heroes that kidnap the heroine for her own good, dubcon, non-con, and it's MFM. And honestly, the 3 main characters are Zayden Graves, and he is a true psychopath. And then you have Dominic, or Dom Graves. They are identical twins. The only difference is their eyes. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I read this, I think, yeah, on like July, the beginning of July, and I was thinking about this book the whole entire month of July. So it was originally a 4-star because it's really good. It's addicting. Like what they do to her, and then she's like, oh, well, I'm actually kind of into this, but also there's stuff that she doesn't know about her own past, and it's kind of makes the plot go forward. And I cannot tell you what it is because I do not want to spoil it, but my gosh, this book was seriously addicting. You could tell who who each character were. They had their own distinct voice that was in the narrative, and honestly, it was one of the most interesting books I've read in a long time. And if you like dark romance and you like stalker romances, this one, you really need to try this one. This one was really, really good. And the other book I want to quickly talk about that's also 4.5 stars is Blackbird Oracle. This is book 5 in the All Souls series. This is from Deborah Harkness. This is like Discovery of Witches and then all of them. This one, I wasn't sure what was going to happen because I thought she was going to write another book around Matthew's son, I think if he was it. But no, this one is about Matthew and Diana again, and Diana is discovering things about her family. This is very much a solid witch book. Their children, if you remember at the end, Matthew and Diana had 2 children, twin boy and girls, Philippe and Rebecca, and they are now about to turn 7, and they have to be examined by the congregation, the witches from the congregation, to see how their magical abilities are. And this one, I was like into it the whole entire time. There was some lag because she talks a lot about academic stuff, but I kind of know this about Deborah Harkness's writing style because she's very, very much an academic, and you can tell the way she writes this book. It's very much an academic type of a thing. But I did not mind it. I didn't mind it in the other books, and I did not mind in this book. I actually think it worked well in this book. The secondary characters, like they shined. The ghosts in here are more pronounced. You can see them better. It's just all around one of the better books in the series. And the thing that is explored through here is Diana's father's family, who are the Proctors, and around the Salem witch trials and what happened to the Proctor family and how it affects Diana and her children. And it's really well done. It is really well done. And it's not a favorite, so it's a 4.5. But if I was going to give it a solid star rating and not do my half stars, it would have been a 5-star. Same with Graves. So, because if a book makes me think about it for a whole month straight, even if it's not a favorite, I still have to give it props because I read a lot. But a 5-star that I also been thinking about all month long is Mad Love by Willow Astor. This is book 1 in the Single Dad's Playbook. Well, it is a little enemies to lovers at the beginning. This is small town single dad, and he is a pro football player, and they're roommates because Weston Shaw, we saw him in the Landmarks Mountain series. He gets a call from the hospital saying that his son has been in an accident and that the biological mother is dead. He did not know he had a son. So this is a surprise baby at his finest. I was like, oh, how is this going to be explained? Well, he gets to the room and his son, they do a paternity test just to make sure, but he's like, yeah, this is my son. He looks like me. He was never he'd never squabbled about it, which I really appreciated. And the heroine is Sadie, who is his late hookup's sister. Sadie has been helping her sister take care of Caleb, who is Weston's son, since he was born. She's threatened because she feels like Weston's going to take him away from her. And he's like, no, I would not do that. Come live with me. I have a big house and you can help me raise my son. So he has consistency. And that's when I fell in love with these characters, because that is such a mature thing to do. Like, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And everybody wanted to know, why did her sister never tell him? Well, we find out later in the book what really happened, and I'm not going to spoil it, but they were slow to fall in love with each other. But when they did, it was really well done. The pacing was great in this. The character growth was fantastic because they weren't enemies for very long, because once she stopped feeling threatened over him, they started becoming friends, and then they turned to lovers. And it was one of the best books I've read from Willow Esther, so I highly recommend that one. And then I read Murder at the Beacon Bake Shop by Darcy Hannah. This is book 1 in a Beacon Bake Shop mystery series. This is a cozy mystery. So this is about Lindsay Blackwell, who finds her fiance having sex with his sous chef, or pastry chef, I think that girl is. Anyways, so she's like, I'm out, goodbye. She's out of New York. She's in finance. So she decides, she's always loved to bake. Her dad loved to bake, so she knows how to bake. After getting a little drunk, she buys an old rundown lighthouse in Beacon Harbor, Michigan. She's like, I'm gonna open up a bake shop, and she starts, and she does it. And the thing is, with this bake shop, there is a ghost of the old lighthouse keeper. And then the grand opening of her bake shop was successful until someone dropped dead. And then they closed her down because of the circumstances around the person who died. And then they're trying to figure out who could have killed this girl. Why did they kill her? Everybody's a suspect. This one also has a cute little romance with Rory Campbell, who is her neighbor and an ex Navy SEAL or Navy diver, I think he was. Anyway, he brought the swoon and the sanity to this story. I loved it. I loved the mystery. I loved the side romantic plot. It was done well. The characters were well developed, and the story went perfectly. Then I read Play Along by Liz Tom Ford, Isaiah Rhodes. And I know some people didn't like Isaiah. I loved Isaiah. He pined for Kennedy for years. He thought she was never going to be interested in him because she was actually engaged until she wasn't. And then one fateful night in Vegas, they get drunk and get married. And this actually sort of helps both Isaiah and Kennedy out a little bit in ways that they did not know or how would have planned or foreseen. So they decide to stay married so Kennedy can keep her job. She is a woman in a male-dominated field. She is a sports doctor. She is not hired as a sports doctor. That job was yanked from her when the sports doctor on the team found out she was a woman. So what sold Kennedy and Isaiah's relationship for me was when he's afraid of thunderstorms, of big storms, because of his mom being killed in the storm. And she did everything to make sure that he was okay when she didn't have to. She got out in a storm and went to him because she knew he was going to freak out because of the storm. I just love this. Like, this is my favorite book in this series. I just felt that the romance was gorgeous and the conflict that happened played out, and it played out well, and I thought it made complete sense to the character arcs in the story plot line. So I loved it. 5 stars, and it's definitely a new favorite of mine. So there are 2 rereads that I have to put on this list. And the first one is Lisa Kleypas, Where Dreams Begin. We read this for Historical Hellions. This one is about Holly Taylor, and she was married to George, who died of, I think, typhoid. She became a single mom, and she's been in mourning for, I think, 3 years. Well, she meets Zachary Bronson, who is a self-made man, and he's rough around the edges, at a ball. He went out to the balcony to meet another woman, and she went out there to get away from everybody. He thought she was the woman he was supposed to meet, and he ended up kissing her. And so the plot was, what after they met, was that Zachary was going to have Holly teach his sisters how to be ladies of the ton and be able to make advantageous matches. He wanted her to live in the house. Now that is very scandalous, and that was going to affect her reputation, which can be ultimately damaging. However, she was willing to do that because he was going to give Rose a financial settlement that would have made her more independent when Rose grew up. Their romance was a little slower, and then about 2/3 of the way book, they were married, and I was like, okay, what's going to go on? But there's some stuff that happened that I really liked. It basically gave her closure to her marriage with George. And I really did not mind that. I thought it was great. I loved the romance. I thought it was swoon-worthy. She was born to be a lady, and that's what she was. And that's why he hired her, to teach his sisters how to be a lady. Now I will say this, I loved Zachary and Rosa's developing relationship and the little buttons and stuff. Perfect. Loved it. Then I read Not Another Love Song. Man, that is a tongue twister for me right now. Holy crap. You didn't see it, but I said it about 10 times. So this is told mainly through Gwen's point of view, but there are 6 chapters in Xander's point of view. So also be aware of that. So they're both musical child prodigies, except that Gwen was an orphan and she didn't have any formal training. But Xander's mom was a famous violinist, and so he had the violin and bow put in his hand at 3 years old and he took off. Well, he changed his name from his actual name to his stage name, which is Xander, and became a cellist. And they started playing in a symphony together. The dynamic while they played together, as well as their relationship, was gorgeously written. I think the character growth was well done. There's one thing I do have to say. I had to suspend my disbelief that she got first chair, because it's not handed out the way it was in this book. You have to work your butt off. I know this because I have friends who work in a symphony, and I was like, does that really happen? And they're like, no, it does not. So I was like, okay, well, the thing is that Gwen got first chair because it was all for publicity to get money from donors and la-di-da-la-di-da-da. But I actually really liked this one. Xander started off rude, but he became a really good hero. This is a very solidly written book. I loved it. I also loved the third act conflict, because it really showed how sneaky people can be. And that's all I'm going to say. Another book that was 5 stars that's not a romance is The Body in the Bookstore by Ellie Alexander. This is book 1 in the secret bookcase mystery. This one is about Annie, who worked at a bookstore for 8 years, and she was going to go into criminology, but her friend Scarlett died when they were in college. She was murdered. There's a festival for mystery readers where they got to go to different places in this small town to celebrate mysteries, because she had thought this up to save the bookstore from being closed. It brought in people she knew from college and stuff. And then one of these people that she knew who came in had been murdered in the bookstore. And so we're trying to figure out who actually murdered this person. And it was written so well that anybody could have been the killer. Like, everyone had a motive because that person was so disliked. The plot was very interesting. There is an overarching plot about Scarlett and her murder that I have a feeling is going to be worked through for the rest of the book series. I'm excited for this. I loved it. I gave 5 stars, and I highly recommend this one. Then I read Dawn on Flames by Tessa Hale. This is the last book in the Dragon of the Emperor series. I'm not going to talk about what I liked about this book, but I will say that, because it is the last book in the series and you have to read them in order, but we finally got answers, and Maddox and Easton finally got their act together. This Why Choose seriously worked for me. I loved it. Each character has their own strength and their own voice, which is very, very important in these types of books. Honestly, this world was really richly developed, and I enjoyed my time in it, and I gave it 5 stars. This is a very, very good series. I highly recommend it. So the next book that was a 5 star was Carolina Moon by Nora Roberts. I'm gonna have a bit of a confession. I read this a long time ago. I've also read it again a few years ago, but I never put it on Goodreads. So that's why it's just the 5 stars. This isn't me just saying it was a reread, because, well, I wanted to make sure that I had that recorded on Goodreads. So anyway, Carolina Moon is a paranormal romantic suspense. Tori Bodine loses her best friend, Hope Lavelle. When they were 8 years old, Hope was raped and murdered. And Tori, she is a psychic. She saw the whole thing, but she couldn't go help her friend because her father hurt her so bad she couldn't move. So 18 years later, after her family was ran out of Progress, South Carolina, she comes back and opens up a Southern Comfort shop where they sell jewelry and wares and goods and stuff made by local artisans in South Carolina. Now, Hope's mom blamed Tori for the murder because Tori came the next day and told them where to find the body because she's like, she's in trouble, we need to go. Cade, who is Hope's older brother, did not. Hope also had a twin sister named Faith. And I love Tori's and Faith's relationship because they were not friends at all when they were kids. However, they became very friendly in this story throughout the entire story because the killer was never found. They thought it was someone passing through, but it wasn't. And so they're trying to piece together these different deaths that have happened and things that are going on. And through this, Cade was always interested in Tori as a way a kid could be, but when she came back, he told her that her eyes had haunted him because she had haunting eyes, and it wasn't in a like creepy sort of way. It was more like you have beautiful eyes sort of way. Anyway, the killer was waiting for Tori to come back because it was his psychopathic needs that he needed to be met, that he was not getting met. And that's all I'm gonna say. We're reading this month, which is August, on Jess from Peace Love Books. It's gonna be on her Patreon. I loved this book. It's been a 5 stars every single time I've read this book. And there is a Lifetime movie, so if you can find it, you should go watch it. It actually has Claire Forlani and Oliver Hudson. Oliver Hudson is Kate Hudson's brother, so just saying. It's really, really good. And there's a secondary romance in there too. The last book that I rated 5 stars for the month of July is Magnet by Joanna Shupe. This is book 1 in a Gilded Age series. What is it? The Knickerbocker Club series. That's what it is. And this one is class difference, self-made man, Gilded Age, historical romance. So Lizzie Sloan, or Elizabeth Sloan, has always been a part of the Knickerbocker Society, and she has a really great standing in society at the beginning of the book, but she wants to be a stock trader. Then you have Emmett Kavanaugh, who is a self-made man. He was from 5 Points. He beat the crap out of people just to get out of the gutter, and he made his millions upon millions upon millions. So he decides to invest in Elizabeth's stock trader company that she founds, and her brother does not like it. Her brother finds them in a compromising position, and it is sort of a forced marriage of convenience because he had to marry her or she would have been ruined in society. Both are very stubborn, but they won't talk to each other, which is somewhat obnoxious. However, I understand why they won't talk to each other, so it didn't really bother me. But there's someone moving in the shadows, okay? The person moving in the shadows is moving against them, trying to break them up. And that's where their stubbornness really kind of does them in a little bit. But once they started talking to each other and communicating with each other, they found out that they loved each other. Chemistry was there, the characters were well developed, the plot was well thought out, and the historical aspects really made a lot of sense. I love the side characters in the story, and I love this book. And I heard the next one, which is Baron, is even better than Magnet, and Baron is Elizabeth's brother. So I'm excited to read that one. Starting today, the day you're seeing this is the day I'm gonna just be doing 1 video a week until I start feeling a little bit better and I can do more. But anyway, these are the books that I read in the month of August that I loved and I gave 5 stars, and 2 that I gave 4.5 stars that I really want to talk to you about. But if you made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you've been here, please leave me a blackbird emoji for the Blackbird Oracle. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.